Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today you've given us a fascinating set of sources, and we're going to use them to explore four incredible Asian destinations: Hong Kong, Vietnam, Thailand, and Singapore.
Sounds great.
We've got a comparative analysis laying out the key features of each, a personal account of a cruise that journeyed through all four, and a travel blog brimming with, on-the-ground insights, especially for Vietnam. Our mission today is to really get under the skin of these places, looking at everything from their economic engines to the feel of daily life.
That's right. We're aiming for more than just a travelogue. We want to understand the underlying forces that shape each of these locations.
Okay.
What makes their economies tick? How has their geography influenced their development? And what are the practical realities you'd encounter if you were there, from getting around to understanding the local culture?
Okay, let's dive straight into the economic heart of things then. When we look at how these places make their living, some really interesting contrasts emerge, don't they? Hong Kong, as your sources clearly state, is a global financial powerhouse. It's not just about having a strong service sector. It's evolved from its trading routes to become this key hub for regional finance.
Right, helped by its location and its regulatory environment.
Exactly.
But what's fascinating is the different trajectory we see with Vietnam. Their economic growth is much more rooted in manufacturing, exports, and actively attracting foreign investment.
So more production-driven.
Yeah, it's a tangible production-driven expansion, a different kind of economic energy compared to Hong Kong's financial focus.
And Thailand seems to have a more blended approach. Tourism is obviously massive, drawing visitors from all over.
Huge, yeah.
But agriculture and manufacturing also form significant pillars of their economy. So a more diversified base, perhaps.
Exactly, which likely offers a different kind of resilience, And then you have Singapore, which the sources consistently present as one of the world's wealthiest nations with a remarkably high GDP per capita. This isn't just luck, though. It reflects a highly skilled workforce and very strategic investments in key sectors. Although, as we might touch on later, such high levels of wealth often spark discussions about, income distribution.
Right. That's a good point. Shifting gears now, let's think about the landscapes that shape these places. Hong Kong, for all its towering skyscrapers, is surprisingly mountainous, isn't it? With limited flat land.
It really is. But that iconic harbor, though, absolutely crucial, not just for trade historically, but in defining its visual identity today.
Absolutely. Now contrast that with Vietnam, a long, slender country boasting this dramatic coastline stretching for thousands of kilometers.
Thousands, wow.
Yeah, and the interior is incredibly diverse, from the high, often misty mountains in the north to the fertile deltas of the Mekong and Red Rivers in the south. The sheer variety of landscapes is quite striking.
Thailand also offers a really diverse geography, doesn't it? You've got the famous beaches in the south, drawing millions.
The classic postcard image.
Totally. But also significant mountain ranges in the north and extensive central plains, each offering a different flavor and experience.
And Singapore, in stark contrast, is this tiny island nation. Your sources really emphasize just how highly urbanized it is.
Right. With limited natural resources, their development has been a testament to incredibly strategic planning and human ingenuity in maximizing their available space. Really quite something.
Now let's move to a topic that's always on travelers' minds: safety and crime rates. The general picture from your sources is that Hong Kong is quite safe, particularly when it comes to violent crime. The important point to note, though, has been the political landscape in recent years, which has introduced a different kind of concern.
That's a crucial distinction, yeah. While day-to-day crime might be low, the social and political dynamics have created different types of uncertainties,
Right.
Looking at Vietnam, the sources suggest moderate levels of crime, with petty theft and scams being the primary issues visitors should probably be aware of.
Okay, so more opportunistic stuff.
Seems like it.
Thailand is generally described as safe for tourists, but the sources do highlight the prevalence of tourist scams and occasional unrest in certain regions as things to keep in mind.
So, a degree of caution and awareness is always wise. Standard travel advice, really.
Pretty much.
Precisely. And Singapore consistently reinforces its global reputation for safety. The very strict laws and highly efficient law enforcement contribute significantly to that feeling of security. It's regularly cited as one of the safest places in the world.
Yeah, you hear that a lot about Singapore. All right, you've arrived, you feel safe. How do you actually get around? Transportation is our next stop, and Hong Kong really shines here, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
They have an incredibly efficient and extensive public transport system, the MTR, that's Mass Transit Railway, along with their iconic trams and extensive bus networks, all seamlessly interconnected.
It's impressive. Now, what's really interesting in Vietnam is the sheer number of motorbikes. The cruise account you provided really captures that vibrant, almost chaotic street-level energy.
I can picture it.
Yeah. But the sources also point to the development of metro systems in the major cities, a sign of the rapid urbanization they're undergoing. It's a transportation landscape that's evolving quickly.
And the cruise experience mentioned coach trips, too.
Right, from the ports, which might be a slower way to travel, but could offer a more scenic immersion, maybe?
Possibly.
Good.
Thailand, particularly Bangkok, has a well-developed public transport network, but the recurring theme in your sources is persistent traffic congestion.
Ah, Bangkok traffic. Legendary.
Seems so. The cruise account also mentions city tours via coach, which suggests that while available, getting around cities can be pretty time-consuming.
Yeah, you need patience. And Singapore, once again, stands out for its excellence in this area. The sources emphasize just how efficient, clean, and far-reaching its public transport network is.
Clean is a big one, I bet.
Definitely. It's really designed for smooth and easy navigation across the entire city-state. Very user-friendly.
Let's talk about what the weather's like. What should people pack? Hong Kong has a subtropical climate, so hot and humid summers transitioning into milder winters. Layering probably makes sense.
Definitely. Now, Vietnam presents a much more varied picture because it's so long. The north can actually experience surprisingly cold winters.
Really cold.
Yeah, with temperatures even dropping to near or below freezing in some areas, quite different from the consistently tropical climate in the south, which has distinct wet and dry seasons.
Wow.
And even the central region has its own monsoon pattern during August to November, as your sources indicate. The cruise account mentioned a shift from temperate weather in January to warmer temperatures as they sailed south through Vietnam. Makes sense.
Right. Thailand, on the other hand, seems to maintain a fairly consistent warmth throughout the year. Yeah. The main distinctions being between the rainy and dry seasons.
Pretty much tropical warmth. The cruise experience in January also noted the increasing warmth as they approached Thailand.
And Singapore. Easy one.
Prepare for consistent heat and high humidity, with frequent rainfall pretty much year-round. It's a classic tropical climate. Pack light clothes and an umbrella.
Good tip. Moving on to communication, language can be a significant factor when you're traveling. Cantonese is the primary language spoken in Hong Kong, but thanks to its British colonial history, English is also widely used, which is a real benefit for many international visitors.
Makes it easier to navigate. In Vietnam, Vietnamese is the official language, and while you will find some English spoken in the more touristy and urban areas,
But not everywhere.
right, the cruise account really highlighted that outside of guided tours, there can be a significant language barrier. That's something travelers should definitely be prepared for. Maybe learn a few basic phrases.
Good idea. Thailand has Thai as its main language, and English is more commonly spoken in tourist hubs. Probably sufficient for most basic interactions for visitors, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and the main spots, likely fine.
Yeah.
But Singapore is quite unique in its official multilingualism. English, Mandarin, Malay, and Tamil are all official languages.
All four.
Yep. Reflecting its incredibly diverse cultural makeup and making it a very accessible place linguistically for a huge number of people.
Fascinating. Now, let's get to the part that many would argue is central to experiencing a new place. The food.
Ah, yes.
Hong Kong boasts a truly diverse culinary scene, from world-renowned dim sum and succulent roast meats to incredibly fresh seafood and a wide array of international cuisines. You certainly won't go hungry there.
Not a chance. And Vietnam is consistently lauded as a real foodie paradise in your sources. The fragrant pho, the satisfying banh mi, the liberal use of fresh herbs, all the diverse rice-based dishes. It's a vibrant and often quite healthy cuisine.
The cruise account mentioned the street food.
Raved about it. Although it did come with a gentle warning for those with more delicate stomachs, but the Vietnam narrative in the blog definitely echoes this, calling it a must-try experience.
Worth the risk, maybe. Thailand is, of course, famous for its bold and aromatic flavors. Think spicy curries, the globally popular pad thai, and a stunning variety of delicious tropical fruits.
Oh, the fruit. Mango sticky rice.
Exactly. It's a cuisine that really awakens the senses.
And Singapore's food scene is a fascinating reflection of its multicultural heritage. The fusion of Chinese, Malay, Indian, and Western influences has resulted in iconic dishes like Hainanese chicken rice and the rich and spicy laksa. It's a real culinary adventure in itself. Hawker centers are legendary.
The personal cruise experience you shared really offers a unique lens through which to view these destinations, doesn't it? That 10-day journey back in January 2018 provided a first-hand glimpse into each place. The overnight stays in Hong Kong and Singapore allowed for a deeper immersion, while the organized tours in Vietnam and Thailand offered a concentrated taste of their key attractions.
Right. And it's interesting that the cruise was highlighted as a relatively easy way for first-time visitors to experience these geographically distant locations. Kind of takes the stress out of logistics.
Yeah, I can see that.
It really underscores the logistical convenience of seeing multiple countries in a single trip. The account also emphasizes the warmth and friendliness of the people encountered,
That's always nice to hear.
and the significant cultural differences compared to Western norms, which is a really valuable insight. The visits to local temples clearly sparked a greater appreciation for Eastern religions and cultures.
The cruise passenger had some pretty specific highlights and recommendations too, didn't they?
They did. The Cu Chi tunnels in Vietnam were cited as the absolute
That
standout,
stand out, yeah.
followed by a longer stay in Singapore, which makes sense given what we've said, and a boat trip around the stunning Ha Long Bay. Those are some strong endorsements for any itinerary.
Definitely taking notes.
Yeah.
And the travel blog provides some incredibly practical and detailed observations specifically for Vietnam. The point about not underestimating travel distances within that long, narrow country,
Yeah.
that's crucial for planning, right?
Absolute crucial. You can't just zip around easily. And the significant regional variations in weather are definitely something travelers need to factor in when deciding on the best time to visit different parts of Vietnam. North versus south is a big deal.
It's interesting that the blog suggests Vietnam's beaches aren't its primary appeal. Maybe not the first thing you go for.
Perhaps not compared to, say, Thailand, but the strong recommendation to try the street food, along with that important reminder about hygiene, really aligns with the cruise passengers' positive yet cautious experience.
Right. Be adventurous but smart.
Exactly. And the blog's practical advice regarding the preference for cash, the potential difficulty in finding ATMs outside major cities, and the expectation of haggling in markets are invaluable tips for anyone planning a trip to Vietnam.
Little things that make a big difference.
Totally. The smaller details, like Vietnamese people being early risers and the suggestion to carry passport photocopies, are also really useful nuggets of information.
The blog truly delves into the more nuanced aspects of daily life and travel in Vietnam, doesn't it? The warnings about tap water not being safe to drink,
Essential info.
the generally reliable Wi-Fi availability, which is good to know, and the sheer ubiquity of motorbikes all paint a vivid picture.
You can almost hear the honking. And the contrasting atmospheres of Hanoi, described as quieter and the capital, versus Ho Chi Minh City, portrayed as more vibrant with a lively nightlife. That's really helpful for travelers deciding where to spend their time. Different vibes.
Indeed. And the descriptions of the heavy traffic and constant honking in the cities, and the need for assertive street crossing skills
Confidence is key.
really convey the intensity of the urban environment. The varying levels of English proficiency you might encounter, especially outside of the main tourist areas, are also important to be aware of.
Yeah, don't just assume everyone speaks English. The blog also provides essential information regarding visas for Vietnam, noting the potential for visa-free stays for certain nationalities, like those with UK and US passports, and outlining the various visa options available. Always check the latest rules, of course.
Absolutely. And the advice on navigating public transport, the recommendation to use ride-hailing apps like Grab as a safer alternative to traditional taxis,
That's a common tip in Southeast Asia now.
and the warnings about potential taxi scams and petty theft, like phone or bag snatching, are all crucial for ensuring a smoother and safer trip. Be aware of your surroundings.
The blog doesn't shy away from some of the potential challenges, does it? The mentions of potential food safety issues, the possibility of more basic service in some restaurants.
Manage expectations.
Right. The common practice of overcharging tourists always confirm prices beforehand, and even receiving candy instead of small change. That's an interesting one.
Candy instead of change. Huh.
Yeah, apparently a growing practice for small denominations. And the warnings about potential luggage tampering at airports and the risk of encountering fake tour companies are definitely worth heeding. Book with reputable sources.
Despite these caveats, the overall impression from the blog, which echoes the cruise passenger sentiment, is that the Vietnamese people are generally very welcoming and helpful.
Yes, that comes through strongly. It seems that the warmth of the local population shines through even amidst some of the logistical complexities.
That's good to hear. And the blog goes on to highlight some specific must-see tourist hotspots across Vietnam, doesn't it?
It does. In Hanoi, it points to the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum, the historic Temple of Literature, and the atmospheric Old Quarter,
Always hear about the Old Quarter.
as well as the Ho Chi Minh Museum and the Chinese Quarter, and even suggests experiencing the local Bia Hoi beer culture. Fresh beer, apparently very cheap. Then there's the breathtaking Ha Long Bay, with its emerald waters and towering limestone islands, and the suggestion of a traditional junk boat tour referencing the local legend of dragons creating the islands with jade.
Sounds magical.
It does. It even mentions the Hang Sum Sot Cave, the Cave of Surprises, though it's a good reminder that the journey from Hanoi can take around 4 hours. So plan for that.
Okay. Da Nang is presented as a city offering a beautiful beach experience, fewer crowds compared to some other destinations, and the impressive marble mountains with their caves, Buddhist temples, and panoramic views.
A bit more off the main trail, maybe. And Hoi An, that ancient UNESCO World Heritage City, sounds incredibly charming with its romantic atmosphere created by lanterns and narrow streets along the river.
It's the Lantern City.
Exactly. The blog also highlights the tradition of releasing flying lanterns and the opportunity to get tailor-made clothes. Hoi An is famous for that and participate in cooking classes, as well as the nearby An Bang Beach and surrounding villages. Lots to do there.
Sounds lovely.
Finally, for Ho Chi Minh City, the blog mentions key sites like the Tin Hau Temple, the bustling Ben Thon and Bintay markets, and the historically significant Cu Chi tunnels, which, as we heard, the cruise passenger also highly recommended.
A powerful experience, I imagine.
Definitely. The option of taking a tour to the Mekong River Delta offers a completely different perspective on the region, including a visit to a coconut candy factory. Bit of everything down south.
So as we bring this deep dive to a close, what are the key takeaways that really distinguish these 4 fascinating destinations based on all the information you've processed? What's the nutshell version?
Okay, well, I think we see Hong Kong standing out as this dynamic global financial center, still carrying traces of its British colonial past while firmly rooted in its Chinese identity. High energy, very international.
Right.
Vietnam emerges as a land of stunning natural beauty and a rich ancient culture, but also one that can present a more challenging and adventurous travel experience. Lots of variety, requires a bit more effort maybe. Thailand offers a well-established and appealing blend of vibrant culture and readily accessible tourism infrastructure. Easier to navigate for many, perhaps.
The classic choice for many first-timers.
Possibly. And Singapore presents itself as a remarkably modern, efficient, and safe city-state with a truly unique and delicious multicultural food scene. Clean, orderly, foodie heaven.
And the personal account from the cruise really underscores the value of that firsthand experience, providing those specific recommendations and highlighting the human element of encountering different cultures.
Exactly. It reminds us that while comparative analyses and travel blogs offer invaluable insights, nothing quite substitutes for seeing and experiencing a place through your own eyes, does it?
No, it really doesn't. That brings us to our final thought for you. The travel blog we explored today included a really insightful quote. You should travel away from home to really appreciate the value of what you have at home on your return.
Nice thought.
Yeah. Considering the distinct character of each of these 4 destinations, Hong Kong's energy, Vietnam's vibrancy and challenges, Thailand's allure, and Singapore's efficiency, which of these sparks the most curiosity within you? Which one resonates most with your own travel style, and what might you discover about yourself by venturing into such different corners of the world?
Good questions to ponder.
Perhaps you'll find yourself wanting to delve deeper into the history of the Cu Chi tunnels after hearing about them. Or maybe you're now intrigued to explore the diverse flavors of Singaporean cuisine. Whatever it is, we hope this deep dive has provided you with a rich foundation for your own future explorations. A good note to end on. Thanks again for joining me for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time.
Goodbye.